offense is one of the best. It's probably the best offense I've been on since I've been in the NFL. This defense has talent all over it. Now they have a few big plays here and there that they want back and all those kind of things. But man, I see it in practice, Jerry. I see it. I see what it could be. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
We are now the Las Vegas Raiders.
Welcome in for another week of Vegas Nation Blitz. I'm your host, Cassie Soto. The Raiders are now 3-3 on the season after suffering a 45-20 loss to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here to help us dive into that loss is Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Vinny Bonsignore. Vinny, probably a loaded question here, but what the heck went wrong for the Raiders on Sunday?
Well, and it's easy to obviously identify what did go wrong, but it's important to also remember it's a 24-20 game with 7 minutes left. The Raiders had the Buccaneers 3rd and 13, deep in Tampa Bay territory. All they have to do is make a stop right there, and the whole complexion of this game changes. So before we get into the bad, I really do think it's important to remember there was some good that was going on as well, very deep into that game. But the issue with the Raiders is they have to be almost letter perfect. They can't afford any kind of letdowns like that, what we saw. That gave Tom Brady a new set of downs. He ends up scoring a touchdown. 2 plays later or so, Derek Carr throws an interception. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers score again, and the route is on. But if you back it up 3 or 4 minutes before that, that's a ball game right there, and that's what the Raiders need to keep in mind. Although they have to get their defense fixed, because that's when I talk about they have to be letter perfect, is because that defense isn't ready right now to shoulder a necessary amount of burden.
During Monday's press conference, you actually asked head coach Jon Gruden about if he sees any coaching changes, if he feels like that's where the issues on defense are stemming from, and here's what he had to say.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about, are we making changes? Are we going to bring in new coaches, new players? We are where we are. We're 3-3. We played some really good offenses. Just so you know, Tom Brady's a problem for a lot of people. And so is Drew Brees, and certainly a lot of the guys that we've seen are very good players. But we're going to stick together, bond together. We're going to make some changes in the lineup possibly and in the scheme that we use. And we're hoping we change the results that we're getting.
Vinny, Gruden said it there. He said, "We are where we are." Do you feel like that was a little complacent there from the head coach, or do you feel, like he is confident that they'll fix things in the weeks coming forward?
Well, I could say this, Cassie. There's actually a lot of pride within the Raiders and within the Raider coaching staff on where the Raiders are right now, 3-3, understanding the difficulties and the complexities of this season, this offseason. They moved a franchise from Oakland to Las Vegas in the middle of a pandemic. They didn't have a normal training camp. There was no OTAs or mini camps or anything like that. And on top of that, if we're being honest, they went through a 6-game gauntlet. That was arguably the toughest schedule in the league up until that point on Sunday. So, I know fans don't like to hear this, but there really is pride in where the Raiders are right now, and they feel like they're close to being a good team, number one, and number two, with the schedule softening up a little bit and getting some players healthy, and that's really important to get Trent Brown back out there, to get Richie Incognito out there, to get Damon Arnett out there, and Brian Edwards, the rookie wide receiver. They feel like if they get their whole team back, with the schedule the way it shapes up down the stretch, they're in a pretty good position. But again, they have to fix some issues on defense. Otherwise, it's going to be a struggle to win the 9 games. They're going to have to play perfect football offensively in order to make that happen.
In other NFL news, the Cleveland Browns, who will host the Raiders on Sunday, announced that receiver Odell Beckham Jr. will miss the rest of the 2020 season with a torn ACL. Former Raiders wide receiver Antonio Brown has signed a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brown remains suspended until Week 9. Arizona Cardinals running back Kenyon Drake is expected to miss several weeks after suffering an ankle injury Sunday night against the Seahawks. And Washington head coach Ron Rivera received cheers from hospital staff members as he finished his final round of cancer treatment. Let's check in on Raiders social media with Las Vegas Review-Journal sports journalist and birthday boy, Leandre Fox. Leandre, Raiders fans have spoken and they are not too happy with Sunday's results.
You know, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. They were feeling really good about that one. And then they had the bye week, so they were chilling. It was all good. They thought they were going to march into Allegiant Stadium and see Tom Brady, you know, after all the history from the Tuck rule, after him being the quarterback that they were going to bring in all summer, not Marcus Mariota. And Tom Brady ran out of there with the W, and Raider Nation was not feeling it at all.
Well, with that being said, another Raider fan is giving his team the benefit of the doubt, Dre.
For sure. You know, you look at their schedule, and it looks on paper to be a really difficult schedule. You have Drew Brees on there. They had Teddy Bridgewater in the Carolina Panthers, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. If you were going to tell them that, hey, you get through the first 6 games 3-3, I think every Raiders fan would have taken that.
Well, final one for you, Dre. Our team finally debuted our Vegas Nation truck. That thing is massive. You can spot it on the freeway. It's hard to miss on its way to Allegiant Stadium. And it looks like you guys picked up an extra passenger on Sunday.
Yeah, a little bit of free plug here, that Vegas Nation truck. If you see it, I'm most likely going to be the one driving at it. So, you know, come holla at your boy. I'll be whipping that thing around there. You're going to see it around Allegiant Stadium. It's all good. Come holla at me. But Dark Side Demon, he was walking around Allegiant Stadium with a skull Tom Brady. Kind of looked like that guy right there. And I think he kind of jinxed the game. He was saying that they were going to, you know, hurt Tom Brady a little bit. Didn't really happen. Tom Brady walked out of there with a W. But Dark Side Demon, he was a very good treat to meet early on that Sunday morning, and he enjoys the Raiders. He had a lot of different causes he was talking about. He's just a really passionate Raiders fan, as they all are.
All right, Dre. Well, be careful in that Vegas Nation truck. Go take it out for your birthday week. We will see you here soon. Thank you so much, as always.
Thanks, Cass.
It is time for a quick break now. We will be right back. Where did Raiders general manager Mike Mayock play college football? A, Boston College, B, Notre Dame, C, Penn State, or D, Pittsburgh?
Stay on the winning page with fan fave Las Vegas Review-Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews.
How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe.
Thanks so much for tuning back into Vegas Nation Blitz. Cassie Soto here alongside Las Vegas Review-Journal sports columnist Ed Graney. Ed, let's go ahead and dive into what went wrong for the Raiders on Sunday against the Bucs. And I'll start with a number here, Ed, 17. 17 is the total number of rushing yards Josh Jacobs was able to put up against the Bucs, and I'm sure he's the kind of guy that'll take the blame here. But there were just a few things out of his control that caused that such a low stat number there for him.
Yeah, exactly, Cassie. First, the offensive line. We know it's kind of been patchwork with the Trent Brown COVID, with Richie Incognito being hurt, other guys going down. Gabe Jackson gets ejected. So that hurt Josh Jacobs. And the other thing is, look, he played the best run defense in the NFL in Tampa Bay. They only allow about 62 yards a game. So you weren't going to get a lot of yards, but I think 17's less than they had hoped Josh Jacobs would get. So, yeah, it was just a bad day all-around run game. But run game hasn't been great, let's be honest. If they're going to make the playoffs, two things have to happen. They have to run the ball better, and, you know, we're going to talk about the defense, obviously, that they haven't done really anything well yet so far. So Wasn't shocked that they couldn't run the ball against Tampa Bay, but I think they would have liked a few more yards. When Derek Carr is your second leading rusher, something went wrong.
There's a bit of an issue there. Well, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball now. And I'll just ask this plain and simple, Ed. Where have guys like Corey Littleton and Malik Collins been? The coaches hyped up Malik Collins that he was going to be the leader of this defense at the start of the season. We've barely talked about the guy.
Yeah, had got a $6 million deal for 1 year. We know Corey Littleton signed a much bigger deal, and they've been non-existent. I mean, we have to be honest about it. I'm a big Pro Football Focus guy in ratings, and they do not rate well against their competition throughout the league. So they've got to play better. Corey Littleton, he's having trouble tackling. I talked to someone from Pro Football Focus earlier this week. They actually believe it did go to the COVID and the non-practicing, and tackling is one of those things you have to practice. Malik Collins, I don't know what's happening with him in terms of the pressure rate, and he can't get to the court, or he can't create pressure for the edge guys. So they just haven't played well. That's just, you can't say it any other clearer than that. And it would help the defense a lot if they started to do so.
Well, it's no secret here that the Raiders have just a few issues. But one thing they can kind of sort of control, Ed, is following COVID protocols. And we've seen even that be an issue for this team. We've seen them slip up a bit. Before we get into it, let's hear from John Gruden and how he thinks his team has been handling COVID.
We don't have any issues. We had a guy get the virus on the bye week. We had a guy perhaps didn't use his tracer. We're not the only team in the league, just so you know, that has had people catch the virus. You can do your research on that, make sure we're all on the same page. Everybody in the country and in the world is dealing with the virus, including the President of the United States. It's a problem for coaches. You can ask Nick Saban. You can ask a lot of college coaches. We're doing everything we can to beat the virus. We're going to continue to do it. And I just encourage everybody out there, if you're listening to this, you do the same.
There you have it, Ed. Gruden says that there's no issues on his team, that they've been the best at, crushing this virus. Do you find anything wrong with what he said?
Well, let's go over it. They've been fined more than any team in the league on COVID protocols. He had his mask off for 2 straight weeks before he was fined, and the team was fined. The gala with Darren Waller, who you have the video from, the offensive line, supposedly there's video of them without the masks, an unauthorized person allowed in the locker room after one of the games, the Monday night game, I believe, in the COVID protocols, Trent Brown not wearing his tracker, testing positive, Jonathan Abram having to miss a game because he was around him within the 5-day span. So I just believe they're crushing it. They're crushing this virus, and I would think that Coach Gruden's completely right that there's no one like them. I don't really know what he's seeing or thinking. I think maybe, as someone said to me earlier today, if he keeps saying that, it'll just magically appear and be true. But my own independent opinion is they have not handled the virus well. They've not crushed it yet. Maybe they've kind of patted it like you pat something, but they have not come close to crushing the virus.
Not close at all, Ed. Well, just final one here for you. If things go the same way that they are right now, the defense can't put things together, they can't run the ball, they're going out to galas on weekends, does this team have any chance of making it to the playoffs if things stay the same way right now?
Well, the COVID won't interfere with that, I don't believe, unless there's a lot of guys positives, and hopefully eventually they'll get this. It's more the defense. I do think they have an offense that could make the playoffs. I think they could move the ball in the playoffs against most people. But defensively, when you rank bottom 4 in almost every major defensive category, that's really hard to make the playoffs. So they're going to have to find the answer there. Obviously, Gruden said this week, Paul Gunther is with them. They're bonding. They're together as a staff. That to me means they know what the problem is, and that to me means they think it's the players. Because when you don't make coaching changes, you're saying it's one of the two. They think it's the players. So we'll see what they do in Cleveland this week in terms of scheme, who plays where, what the depth chart looks like. I think there's going to be a lot of changes there, and then we'll see if it helps them out. But they got to get better defensively.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Ed, thank you so much, as always.
Thanks, Cassie.
Once again, that was Las Vegas Review-Journal sports columnist Ed Graney. We're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back. Stay with us. The answer is A, Boston College. Mayock was a captain for the Boston College football and baseball teams before the Steelers drafted him in 1981.
Welcome back to the Vegas Nation Blitz, everybody. It's Heidi Fang here with our NFL reporter, Adam Hill. We're trying not to get blown away here in front of Allegiant Stadium, and we have your AFC West recap right now, as it was kind of a crazy day. We had first snow in Denver with the Kansas City game, but the Chiefs, no matter how hard of a slugfest the Broncos try to put up, the Chiefs come away with the win, Adam. How big is this for them in the division?
Yeah, not a big game for Patrick Mahomes. Really just figured out a way to win in a game with a lot of snow. They ran the ball. They got a special team score. They played really good defense. And, you can win games without a big effort from Patrick Mahomes. That's what the Chiefs want. He's going to have his big games, and they're going to win those games. But if you can win when he doesn't throw for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, that is a big win for the Chiefs. And on the other side of that, the Broncos, not a very good performance by them. They couldn't really get going, even in the snow, which you would think would favor them being in Colorado, but really didn't really have much of an advantage at all from the snow. So not a great effort for Denver. A couple injuries in that game, too, that we'll try to find out about as it gets closer to game day next week. But the Chiefs exert their dominance in the division.
All right, the Chargers have just a great game, finally get a win, and Justin Herbert kind of flaunting his stuff now that he's finally in that starting role. What did you make of Justin Herbert's performance in the Chargers game?
Yeah, really good statistical game. It was kind of an up and down. He had like 3 really good drives in a row and then 4 really not so good drives. And then when it counted, when it was late in the game, when they fell behind, he really kind of took over and showed what that promise is that they're so excited about down in Los Angeles. Justin Herbert gets his first win. A lot of people talking about the stats, but really it's about the wins. He finally gets one, and now they've got some games to build. This is the stretch of the season where they had some winnable games. He's going to try to take advantage of that and keep that momentum going. And they've got the Raiders coming up in a couple weeks. That should be a big game down in LA.
All right, now, just week 8. What's the big one we're looking forward to here?
Well, it's one of the biggest games of the year in Las Vegas. The Kansas City Chiefs host the New York Jets. Why is that a big game? Maybe the biggest point spread we'll see all year. It's right around 22 right now. We'll see if it creeps up a little bit towards game time. Not a competitive game we expect, but one of the biggest spreads of the year, as we said. And then a divisional matchup, Chargers at Broncos, a real showdown. It's basically a pick 'em right now, so we'll see if the Chargers can keep that momentum going into that game with the Raiders next week.
And now stay tuned, everybody, as we profile Fred Biletnikoff, a Raider great, in this moment in Raiders history.
Wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff was a Raider for his entire NFL career. He spent 14 seasons with the team from 1965 to 1978 and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1988. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler. Drafted in 1965, his 589 receptions still ranks second all-time for the franchise. From 1968 until 1973, he was the Raiders' leading receiver in all 6 seasons and led the NFL in receiving with 61 catches in 1971, and then led the AFC in 1972 with 58. Where Biletnikoff flourished most was the postseason. Through 19 playoff games, Biletnikoff went over the 100-yard receiving mark in 5 of them. When he retired, he was the NFL's all-time leader in postseason receiving yards, receptions, and touchdown receptions with 10. In Super Bowl 11, he was named MVP for his 79-yard performance that set up 3 of the Raiders' scores to lead them to a 32-14 victory over the Vikings. Biletnikoff retired from the NFL in 1978. Fred Biletnikoff is an alum of Florida State University and played football there. He led the country in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns in his senior year. In 1994, the Biletnikoff Award was established and has been awarded annually to the NCAA's top wide receiver. In 1989, Fred Biletnikoff returned to the Raiders organization, where he served as the team's wide receivers coach until 2006. And that'll do it for this moment in Raiders history.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews.
How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe.
UNLV football is probably hoping that home field advantage will help them get a win over in-state rival UNR this weekend after a blowout 34-6 loss versus San Diego State in the team's season opener this past Saturday. It was a rough one for the Rebels. Joining me now is Allegiant Stadium insider Mick Akers. Mick, for the very first time, fans will be allowed inside of Allegiant Stadium on Halloween to help the Rebels open up that building when they host the Wolfpack. What can you tell us about the details there?
Yeah, so, after the school applied for initially 5150 fans to the county, they had to first give it to the county, then the state. So they kind of went through the whole process, and, there was a 25-foot buffer zone. You can't have more than 250 people in a section. And then you all can't go in the same entry, so they have to go through different entryways. So after, taking all these factors into place, they figured the best number, without having any kind of issues with the COVID regulations, was 2,000. So 2,000 fans this season at the Legion Stadium. Obviously, Raiders have been playing without fans, and so this will be the first time that any fans sit in the seats there. So obviously, whoever gets in there is going to be a select few, and everyone's going to kind of have the envy card on them.
Yeah. Well, of course, there will be a limited number of fans physically in attendance, Mick, but UNLV is doing something pretty cool that lets fans get into the stadium in a different way.
Yeah, so, if you can't actually, physically be there with the 2,000 fans, obviously students are going to take out a lot of those if they get free tickets, and then whatever's left after that. So, obviously, chances are slim that general admission is going to be open up. You can purchase a cardboard cutout, whatever. It has to be an approved image, but, whatever you want to have of yourself or maybe your dog or something like that, that'll be placed throughout Legion Stadium. Those start at about $79. For students, it's $49, and then if you pay an extra $20, make it $99. You can have your cardboard cutout, moved from Allegiant Stadium to the MAC when the Running Rebels kick off their season next month. So, you can be a little multi-venue cutout, a little jet setter, I guess, in Las Vegas.
All right, so if we see UNLV fans and it goes, there's a success there, fans at Allegiant Stadium, is there any chance that the silver and black, that the Raiders fans will get in? Will Mark Davis change his mind, or still, nope, sorry, Raiders fans, you guys can't, you have to wait until 2021 to get into Allegiant Stadium?
Yeah, unfortunately, even with the recent announcement of up to 6,500 allowed, Mark Davis has been steadfast saying, hey, it's either all 65,000 or none. And he's, held to his word throughout this. I asked him even after that, and he said no again. So the only thing he ever told me, with our conversations in the past was if we made the playoffs, and we had a home game, there would be a chance that we would allow whatever was allowed at that point. But obviously, we got some work to do with the game they had against Tampa Bay this past weekend. So, you never know, that's up in the air still. So, there's that small holdout. Hey, if there's a playoff home game there, there could be some, silver and black fans in the stands there.
Some high hopes coming from Mark Davis. Mick, thank you so much as always.
Thanks, Cassie.
Thank you so much, as always, for joining us here on Vegas Nation Blitz. If you're enjoying this show, we hope you're also tuning in to Vegas Nation Game Day every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Cox Your View Channel 14, where we bring you the Raiders game preview every Sunday at 9 a.m. That's Vegas Nation Game Day on Cox Your View Channel 14. Until then, be sure to follow us on all your favorite social media channels at Vegas Nation, and head on over to vegasnation.com for all your latest Raiders updates. For our Vegas Nation crew, I'm Cassie Soto. Thanks for watching.